What is up? Welcome back to Game Brigade. My name is Brian, and thank you guys for watching. Today on the breakdown episode, we are going to be doing a Should You Back for Lords of Heaven by Phalanx Games. This is an area control skirmish war game that has deep roots in the Crusaders war in the Middle East. I've enjoyed Phalanx Games. Phalanx Games does a lot of different types of games with historical backgrounds, but I also like the way that they kind of look at them differently than a traditional war game. So if you're interested in kind of one of those skirmish games, area control games that has some rooted in some historical fact, I would check this out. So we're going to dive into the campaign, give you guys my thoughts in terms of how it plays, give you some thoughts on which pledge levels I might consider if I were to back this. That way you guys can make the best backing decision going forward. The first thing I want to make sure you guys notice, and probably won't be live by the time most of you watch it, but in the first 24 hours, every pledge comes with a set of free metal coins, which is pretty sweet because if we go down to the add-ons, you can see that those are 19 euros. So that's actually like a really cool add-on for free by just pledging in the first 24 hours. I wish it was 48 to give more time for people to catch it, but what can you do? So Lords of Heaven. Now this is going to be a 4-player game, 2 or 4 player, and it's going to include 4 different factions that were notable in the Crusaders wars. You've got the Latin Christians, who are the Crusaders, the Sunni, the Orthodox Christians, who are the other side of the Byzantine Empire, they're from the east, and then you've got the Caliphate, who are going to be part of that Islamic nation. So you got the 2 Islamic nations, and you've got the 2 Christian nations kind of battling it out. What I also think is pretty cool about this game is there's going to be somewhat of a alliance system where you might want to bring up an opponent into a battle with you to assist with the combat. You're both going to gain victory points, though, so you have to be aware of how many times do you influence people into bringing them in with you, and how many times do you just, try to win the battles on your own. So how does the game work? Well, you're going to be taking a look at this battlefield. This is the area map that will be taking control. And again, this is mostly an area control game for the most part. So you're going to have these different cities that are located throughout the game. And each of these obviously are historically real locations that were battles in the Crusaders wars. And you're going to actually be going through 2 different Crusader periods, each one being about 8 rounds on average. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be placing your either political influence or military influence in these regions using a card action system. So if you scroll down here to the bottom of the page, each player is going to be drafting a set of cards at the start of each round, and then you're going to be playing these cards into one of 4 different types of action locations to either build more locations, monasteries, mosques, fortresses, taxing some of your people, doing some sort of movement if you want to move your military troops around to your different territories, or just collecting income if you'd like to do something like that. So there's a bunch of different types of actions you're going to do. Effectively, each of these locations, let me see if I can find a better picture. I'm not sure if I will. Maybe I can. Okay, so here's an idea. So these are the 10 location cities that are in the game. Effectively, what this means is you divide each city into 2 different territory regions. You have the combat side. These are going to be military forces that are stationed around the city or in the surrounding areas of influence of that city. And then you actually have the border walls of that city. And within these cities, you have 2 different locations. You can just have a presence where you might not be a military control, or you might not even control the city, but you have a presence there, either politically or religiously. And then you're going to have the dominating faction, who is actually in control of this region through powers or whatever it may be. And then you can see there's coins underneath there to show who actually will collect what taxes based on their control. And then if you do have the massive control of this location, you can even build a fortress within the city to give it some sort of defensive capabilities, which is pretty sweet. So you're going to have to make decisions about between, do I fortify my military regions and places? Where do you want to have political control? Because the only way that you can eventually take control of a city is having some sort of presence, and you're going to have to influence that up along the way. So there's going to be not only military combat, which is, something core to a area control game, but there's also going to be that political aspect as well. So that's kind of the basis of the game. I would highly recommend watching some of these videos. One of the ones I really enjoyed watching was this gentleman down here, Zilla Blitz. I enjoyed his video. So if you really want to get a really good, strong depth of understanding how this game works, I recommend those videos. But of course, any other of these content creators could be great. That's just the one that I found the most helpful for me when I was trying to learn more about this game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rewards. There are 2 pledges currently. You've got the all-in pledge, which we'll cover, but we also have the deluxe edition, the game found exclusive versions. So they say that there is going to be the game found exclusive version of this game, and if this game does go to retail, won't include some of these options. I would highly suggest, if you really want to see all those things that could potentially change, is to click on what is in the box, and it'll tell you here what is game found exclusive, such as these meeples that are going to be replacing the cardboard tokens that are normally within the game. So if we go back to the deluxe edition, it's 49 euros, 50 euros effectively. Pretty good price. It also includes that stretch pay. I do think it's interesting when you click here. I think this is just kind of funny. They have their why back now, but they have stretch pay. Shipping price can't be increased by more than 10%. Stable pledge, you can pay in installments of 4 installments. Those are reversed. Those should be stretch pay, means that you can pay your cost of your pledge over 4 installments, while stable pledge means the shipping prices will not be increased more than 10%, which is good for you guys as a backers, that these guys are willing to do the stable pledge for that. So anyways, let's go back. So what are we looking at getting when we're getting the deluxeified edition? So like I said, you're going to be getting those meeples, and then if we click inside the box, you're going to get those 4 different factions: the Crusaders, the Byzantine Empire, the Shuljek, I don't know how to pronounce that unfortunately, and the Caliphate. These are the 4 different factions. Now it does say it's asymmetrical, but when I was diving through this, the only asymmetry that I was able to see was the starting setup for these players, as well as some of the leaders. But most of this other stuff, well, okay, you have setup is like in terms of the money, the faith, these troops that you might get. But I wasn't seeing a ton of stuff in terms of like unit differences, other than these leader cards that you can also have in play and effect. So just be aware of that. It's like middle level asymmetrical, whatever. God, I can't even say that word now. In terms of like wargaming aspects. You also have the all-in pledge. Now this is for 100 euros, and it's basically going to be deluxifying this game to the max. It's going to be offering you those modal coin sets that are also included within the first 24 hours. You're going to be getting a play mat to replace the standard game board. You're also going to be getting player mats to replace the cardboard player mats, so you can have some neoprene play mats for that as well. And you are going to get all their deluxified components, which is also included in the other one, and the stretch goals, if that matters. I do believe the stretch goals, yeah, so it's just those additionals: the metal coins, play mats, oh, the card holders, that's right, I was like, there's one more, the card holders. So these are basically things if you want to hold your cards while you're playing. If you don't want to hold them with your hand or place them on the table, that is for you. If you are curious about the shipping cost, the shipping is going to be 19 euros for the deluxe and 25 for the all-in. Of course, check this chart for your region specific. I only cover the USA, as that is where I'm from, and it's what I know best. So now that we've kind of given this kind of a talk, let me give you my quick 2 cents on what I think about this game. When I was checking out the videos, it seems like a pretty interesting thematic, historical based area control game, which I like. I enjoy that they're trying to do something a little different with the card play, with the action selections, and the way they do the cards is a little cooler because they have cards that are either Christian based or Islamic based. So Christians or Muslims could draft either one for their faction, but they aren't going to get the full benefit of the card. So if you find a card that's like really cool, or you want to prevent your opponent from getting it during the draft, you could kind of hate draft it. That way they don't get access to it, which is kind of a cool mechanic. I enjoy drafting in a lot of these games. I know Blood Rage is a really cool game that people enjoy the drafting, and that also an area control game. So this is kind of taking hints from that. I also like that the way the actual movement of the board works. If I want to move units around, it's not like moving units. It's a military presence. And if you think back the way, you know, wars were waged, and they'd move around and they'd kind of recruit local people to be kind of the foot soldiers and whatnot, it kind of reams in terms of kind of historical accuracy, which I think is kind of sweet with this game. So I'm pretty impressed with it. In terms of the pledge levels that I'd go with, I probably personally am probably pretty fine at this €50 edition. I don't know if personally the $99 is one that I would reach for, just because I don't think I necessarily need the more play mats and player mats, nor the card holders, which are the main draw to this. But if you are someone who likes those things, or has storage for those, or enjoys the tactile feel of the way that these add-ons are there, I'm not going to discourage you. I just don't think the value is there for me to pledge this, but I do think the value is there at the €50 with all of the deluxe components in terms of the meeples and all the stretch goals being added to the game. I think that's where I would put my recommendation. So if this was helpful for you, please remember to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and leave a comment down below. Let me know, are you backing this game, or was this on your radar at all? I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. In terms of just conversation, now that we're at the end of the video, I used to do these videos a lot in the day, and I kind of have slowed down. I want to do more of them, so expect more of these on the channel. Hopefully we'll do one of these once a week like I used to. Every Wednesday morning I'd have a Should You Back. I'm hoping to kind of get back into that swing of things as we kind of ramp back up for the end of the year swing. So again, thank you for watching. My name is Brian. You're watching Game Brigade, and I will talk to you very soon.